I want to talk about your tour. So how long have you been on this tour?
Since February.
Okay. And how many cities do you hit up in a month or a week?
3.
Okay. How important is it that you have a routine during this time on the road? And what does that look like?
Well, the most important part of the routine likely is traveling with my wife, but she isn't traveling with me in the moment, and that sort of breaks things up. We've been on the road a long time, and so, you know, it's more like life on the road fundamentally. And I write, and I have my podcast, which I do twice a week. So, you know, I have...
You do that while you're traveling?
Yeah. I have a stable schedule, a stable work schedule. And then at night, it's a routine in a way. I mean, the show has a structure. It opens with music, which is an excellent way to open a lecture.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, it really makes a difference. It gets everyone focused. And I have a very good musician, David Cotter, opening. Sometimes my son opens, Julian Peterson.
Is this
and
a new thing you're trying, or have you done this forever? No, I've been doing it for quite a while. It's been 100 shows probably we've had music. And it's really useful because both musicians play at a very high level. So they set a high bar. It's very inspiring. It focuses people's attention. Then I run a couple of announcements about 2 projects I'm working on, 3 actually at the moment. An app called Essay, essay.app, that teaches people how to write. Yeah, there's a mobile version of that out now. And so if you use that, it'll teach you how to structure your thoughts and how to edit, which is crucially important. Because editing is how you separate the wheat from the chaff, right? You want to produce a lot of ideas, but most of them are stupid, so you got to evaluate them. And people don't know how to do that or why they should. An essay helps with that. We're launching Peterson Academy at the end of May, a soft launch, and that's my attempt to, put the universities out of business?
I would love to do that. But at least to raise the bar for them. So like our plan, we have a great stable of professors, and I've been fortunate because of my podcast and my travels. I've been able to find great lecturers, and they're more than willing to work with me. And we bring them to Miami, and they film an 8-hour course in front of a white wall with a studio audience. And we filled the white wall background in with animation. It's very professionally produced. There'll be I believe, and I've seen the trailers, which we'll release soon, and some of the courses, and I think I can fairly say that they are the best university courses by a good margin that have ever been produced.
Awesome.
And so with any luck, we'll set a new standard, at least for the universities, and then we want to use AI to translate the courses. You can now use AI systems that will allow a lecturer to speak in a different language in his voice with the appropriate mouth movements.
Wow.
And so, it's a little expensive at the moment.
That's what we're doing right now. You're not actually in the studio with us. We should have made that disclaimer.
Exactly. It's just a deep fake. Right. And so what that should enable us to do is to bring university level education to the developing world. And so we can set a standard there, we hope. And accreditation is a bit of a problem because most of the accreditation enterprises are corrupt, just like the universities. And so if you go for accreditation, you end up walking down the woke path. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to give people 1-year, 2-year, 3-year, and 4-year certificates. We're going to structure a CV for them. We're going to tell employers what they've learned and what their performance indicates. We're going to set the performance standards high. We're going to make sure that our graduates are literate, and we can guarantee the potential employers that they're not woke ideologues, propagandized by dim-witted leftist radicals, hell-bent on the destruction of our economic system. You think maybe, potential employers might be, what would you say, interested in that, given that it's in their, well, they're playing that game. So, despite the proclivity of corporations to be woke and even the fossil fuel industry to play the green game, you'd think that a certain degree of self-interest and good old-fashioned reliable greed might win out in the end. So,
what do you do when you give a lecture and you feel like you didn't do a good job? I'm sure that happens. How do you handle that?
I don't ever feel like I didn't do a good job.
Okay, that's awesome.
I feel like, that doesn't mean there isn't variation in quality.
Yeah.
Like I've lectured for so long that on this tour and the previous tour, I did a fair bit of it when I was pretty ill, often in bed like half an hour before the lecture thinking,
there's no way I'm going to be up on stage in front of 5,000 people in an hour. But like, I have a very large cache of stories.
Yeah.
You know, because I've been doing this since 1984.
I was
a long time, right? 40 years.
I was 1 year old. Keep going.
Well, there you go.
Nobody
there
asked
you go.
me. Sorry.
Yeah. And you know, I trained myself to lecture without notes really right from the beginning. Now, when I was a junior professor at Harvard, I did use slides because when I was learning new material, I needed the scaffold, you know, but I tried to dispense with that necessity as rapidly as possible. And that means you have the stories at hand. And so even if I'm, you know, barely upright, I can string together a coherent story.
That must be a lot of pressure to realize, if I cancel this, all these people who've made plans, who've driven from
you don't
far,
want to cancel. No, well, that's the other thing too with the tour. Like, to do a tour successfully, you have to have your priorities right. Okay. And the fundamental priority is that you're there half an hour beforehand and you're bloody pleased that everyone's there. Right? You got the right attitude. The music helps with that too.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing that all those people showed up.
It is, yeah.
Especially for this kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't want to take it for granted.
Not in the least. You go home then, right?
Yeah.
You never take the fact that people aren't throwing rocks at you for granted.
I love that.
I'm dead serious about that.
That's awesome. I'll do that.
Yeah. For sure. Especially if you're in the public eye.
Yeah.
So if there's 4,000 people showed up and they're, you know, hoping for something positive to occur, it's up to you to be there and deliver. And so I have an excellent crew, logistics and security people. My tour manager, John O'Connell, is a star. He's been on the road forever. He was a stand-up comedian and toured for a long while, and he's been with me for 6 years. We've got it down to it's a well-oiled machine.
Also, a massive thanks to Hallo for sponsoring this podcast. Hallo.com/Matt Fradd is where you want to go if you want to try out their entire app for 3 months for free. It is an absolutely fantastic app. They actually have all of my audio podcasts on there right now, so you can listen to them over there. They have Catholic lo-fi, meditation, amazing stuff. Hallo.com/Matt Fradd to get 3 months for free. Hey, thanks so much for watching this clip. If you want to watch more clips of me chatting with Jordan Peterson, click these videos somewhere here on this screen.